Ethan, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Aaron. How you doing?
Pretty good. We're finding ourselves on another live stream here.
Yeah, slowly
So,
working our way through the kinks here.
yeah. So yeah, forgive us, YouTube viewers, if we do some or say something a little crazy. So
That's
we'll
usually
get
every
it.
episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, no, should be pretty fun live stream. I think we got a little fun Q&A that we can bring to the table. We can kind of kick it off. I know we were talking. This kind of like win now season. I think it's like, um, this is where you got to start making moves in fantasy. And I think you and I both made some moves over this last week in a league we're both in. So to some win now moves, right? So I traded for CMC and you traded for Tyreek Hill. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, so that is in I think both our longest running dynasty leagues. I know it's mine, and it's a league. It was my first one. I made every mistake in the book, but I learned a lot from it, and I've actually it's yet to win a championship in that league. I've been to the dance twice and just fell short, so I'm kind of sick of not getting a championship. I'm sure you're feeling the same way as you've been in the championship 2 years in a row and haven't come away with any hardware.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been a little frustrating. It was fun. It was funny. I wasn't there for the startup. I started as a co-manager, and it's we've seen we saw like the dips and valleys with that. Peaks. I remember going from worst to almost first
Yeah.
uh to so yeah two second place 2 years in a row. And yeah, I guess I kind of felt like it was time, like, hey, I really didn't want to go 3 years in a row getting second place. So I was like, hey, let me just trade for CMC and see what happens.
Yeah, I think we started that league in 2017 and I mean 2016, 17, and there wasn't a lot of dynasty content out there in the space. It was like the Wild West in terms of trades. I mean, running backs were going for four first, like Barkley. It was just nuts. We've obviously learned a lot since then, but yeah, no, I made a trade. I moved a late 25 first, and this is single quarterback this league, so first are depressed in value a little bit. So I sent a late 25 first projected, and I received Tyreek Hill, which honestly, for win now, I kind of think it's a no brainer. I'm trying to bolster the lineup. What's a better hammer than Tyreek Hill, who can pop off for 25 plus points on any given week? Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case for him. Hopefully, him and Tua can get on the same page, and Tyreek Hill can propel me to a championship. But I know you went out on a even took a bigger risk and went for Mr. Achilles uh, CMC there. So hopefully he can come back for you and hopefully he can guide you to a championship.
Yeah, no, it's the thing that makes this I think the most comical is we both got these players from the same team, and it happens to be Kamish on our fellow Sunday Surefire podcast. So
No collusion. There was no
yeah,
collusion.
no collusion there. But yeah, no, he's obviously trying to rebuild and grabbing some first with this. It made sense on his end.
Well, I
Um,
mean, it's insane. I've never seen a team fall from grace as fast as his team. Kamish is coming off a championship in that league. I mean, he had Tyreek Hill, Puka Nakua, Christian McCaffrey, and a bunch of other really good players, and almost every single one of them got hurt or has missed a ton of time, and he just tanked. So he decided to pull the plug and start rebuilding, and he's been acquiring a decent amount of firsts.
yeah. Yeah, no, we'll definitely see what happens there in that league. It's always a fun one to kind of track. I know it's like near and dear to your heart as it's one of your first dynasty leagues as
And need to
well.
win it.
Yeah. Hey, we got our first comment in the chat. Thank you, Tad, for the shout out. So nobody makes trades. So Tad actually is in our Discord as well. We were trying to help him out with some trades. I actually have one on the screen here. We can maybe get kind of kick it off here for our live stream. This could be a little debatable one, and especially if you're coming off of a bright win, off of maybe having JSN. on your team. And I'll kind of turn this to you, Ethan, and I'll kind of say what I said to Tad here is like, um, I was pretty high on wanting to trade JSN right now after his huge week. Um, he it's funny, he actually has JSN and Josh Downs on his fantasy team. And he actually has Michael Pittman too. So I was like, hey, you probably don't want the headache of, hey, do I start Josh Downs? I started Michael Pittman. So I'm like, hey, why don't you just try to really upgrade your
Hey, that's not a headache anymore. Just start Josh Downs.
That's true. True. But yeah, that I mean, I don't know. You could comment on that a little bit, but my advice was like, hey, try to trade JSN and Michael Pittman for Nico Collins, a guy that's injured right now. A little bit of a risk, but I mean, when he returns, he can become that alpha again.
Yeah, no, if you can move JSN, I believe you said Pittman, right? Pittman for a Nico Collins. That to me, that's a move I'd make. I mean, Nico Collins is going to go right back into that alpha role. I mean, CJ Stroud clearly misses him. The Texans are kind of struggling a little bit, but Nico is just an alpha. He's going to be very consistent. I know JSN. I mean, he looked. I mean, 7 for 180, 2 touchdowns, and it could have been a lot more too. He had a couple big plays called back. He actually dropped a ball as well that could have added to that 180-yard total. But it was nice to see actually JSN being utilized as the main go-to guy. And that game definitely made me excited for JSN's future, especially with Lockett hopefully on the out soon there. But obviously DK Metcalf's still there, and he's kind of been the alpha. But JSN, they need to feed him the ball. But yeah, if you just because essentially I think you're basically trading JSN for Nico, because I mean Pittman's kind of a zero right now. I think Pittman's still hurt. I think the back's still bothering him.
Mm.
Like Josh Downs, I think, is getting like a 36% like first read target share in that offense. It's just Flacco's looking at him, and Pittman's just been kind of going by the wayside, unfortunately, because Pittman did have a pretty good year last year. But to Tad's point, when it's nobody will trade. It's tough in redraft sometimes because some
Yeah.
leagues are more active than others. There's some managers where like you're going to go to them, it's instant decline or no counter, or they never did, or it just sits in their inbox, which is frustrating. It's a little more frustrating in Dynasty, but redraft, I mean, you have players of all different levels and different they people who pay attention to like us who are like so avid, and there's people that are just, hey, I'm just here to have fun, and I'll check it once, maybe twice a week, and that's it. But it's always tough in a redraft league to kind of get the trade market flowing. It's a little easier potentially in Dynasty, but it just makes things tough because then you just really got to hammer the waiver wire. You really got to pay attention to that, because that's really your only avenue to bolster your team if it's impossible to make trades in your league.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, we can even move on to Josh Downs here since, I mean, Tad's got both on his team too, but also, it was one where, yeah, when you're kind of going back and forth, like, knowing Josh Downs is a good player. The one intriguing thing just specifically about week 10 is the matchup this week. Although, he's facing Buffalo, where they are a tough team. They can kind of show up and do good things on defense. But the thing I like about this matchup is Josh Downs has played almost 100% of his snaps from the slot position, and Buffalo's given up the most receptions to the slot wide receiver on the opposing team. So I really love that matchup. Just they obviously we know, but Buffalo's scheme kind of they play that shell defense, so they do give up a little bit of yards. They don't get beat deep, right? So I think that's a perfect game script for Josh Downs this week. So I love your call there. I love Josh Downs in week 10. I think I think for any viewers that watch or listen to our podcast this week, I'm sure we'll talk a little Josh Downs. I know we were both joking that I think he's both in our DFS lineup this week.
Yeah, yes, he is. And the matchup, even though, I mean, the Colts are, I think, 4-point dogs. They're going to be throwing the ball, I think, a decent amount to try to keep up with Buffalo. But yeah, like you said, Buffalo, they have the 7th highest target share, 36%, and the 8th most receiving yards a game, 87.4 allowed to the opposing slot receiver. and Josh Downs runs 85% of his routes out of the slot. So I think he's primed for a big day, which is why me and you both have him in our DFS lineup. Unfortunately, I don't have any Downs anywhere in Dynasty or redraft. I do have a lot of Pittman, though, unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Josh Downs is coming on strong.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Tad, if you're listening, I don't know if you got any questions or you got any waivers. I mean, we're trying to help you out with maybe some trades. I guess ultimately just trying to get you some alpha dogs, a wide receiver. But I do like JSN and Downs. I'm just a little worried for when DK does come back. I know I got him as a trade target. I just love it right now. Just after those big performances, they're also on a bye, so there's more time. You might be able, his hype is still going to be there. But as we know, when DK's back and it's Gino getting the ball, it's kind of boomer bust sometimes for some of those guys. So, yeah. Any last minute advice for Tad with either one of these players?
I mean, I'd start Josh Downs. I mean, Josh Downs and JSN, I think from here on out are every week starters. Hopefully JSN and hopefully the Seattle Seahawks realize what they have in JSN. Hopefully they'll feature him more. I don't know how serious DK's injury is, but I mean, JSN as the focal point of that offense did just fine. So I'm very excited for my JSN shares going forward. But unfortunately, like I said, no downs for me, but he's definitely an every week starter from here on out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Downs has proved enough for me, and looked back and kind of already seen what he's done with Flacco this year. So yeah, I mean, he's outperforming Pittman. I think to your point, where Pittman's probably still working through that back injury. I think Downs is the guy to go to, especially in PPR. Obviously, I think if you're in standard leagues. I know. We have another viewer, Kevin, that's asking about Downs too, but I still think Downs is fine, fine player to go with. He's gonna get his yards. He can still score, right? He makes big plays too. So, I from here on out, I would say start Downs over Pittman. I think we also got Johnson too. So I'm not sure if that's Deontay Johnson or which Johnson he's referring to there. We kind of get an answer there, but yeah, I would definitely start Downs over Deontay if that's Deontay.
Yeah, or if it's QJ. Um, Obviously, I think it's a standard league he's talking about. So obviously, Josh Downs, he's a PPR machine. But I think definitely this week I'd start Josh Downs no matter what the format is, just because the matchup's very good. Yeah,
QJ.
so it is
QJ.
QJ. I do like QJ in standard. I mean, since they're bye, I mean Justin Herbert's averaging over 30 pass attempts a game. Um, since actually week 7, Herbert ranks second in pass yards, sixth in pass attempts, and they've been they've been moving the ball through the air. So QJ obviously came back from injury this past week, had a big day. I mean, Justin Herbert didn't really have to do anything in the second half of that game. I think they only threw the ball like 11 times in the second half. So QJ, he's one of those guys in standard leagues. You plug in your lineup and hopefully he gets that long touchdown. With standard leagues, I would say QJ has more upside than Downs. Downs is safer because he's going to get the target volume, but can he get that big play? Is he going to get in the end zone? I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for in standard leagues, those big plays and the touchdowns. But this week, like I said, the Buffalo Bills allow 87 yards to slot receivers. So I think I'd play Downs over QJ this week. The Chargers, I believe, are playing the Tennessee Titans, so I don't think they're going to have to chuck the ball all over the yard because they're probably going to be in command of that game. So I'd go Downs over QJ. So
Yeah,
no,
and
I would not drop Downs in the standard league.
I agree, and you just brought up a great example. I was gonna just show out as well too. So if you have to make that decision week in week out, um, I think it is important to also look at the defense Herbert is playing against. Um, Herbert's now about middle of the road as far as how much his offensive line is protecting him for time to throw. It's crazy. So when he's above his average on time to throw, he's got 12 big time throws in the league, which is up there for leading big time throws. When he has less than his average, he's only got 2 big time throws. So that doesn't really scream a whole lot for QJ. So I guess what that translates to, Kevin, is if the Chargers are playing against a poor pass rush, you actually may want to go with QJ in some weeks in a standard league. But yeah, I agree with Ethan. I'm all with Downs over QJ this week.
And it looks like I'll pose this question to you, Aaron. It looks like Tad's asking: Is Hopkins a must start now? I know the answer, but you're the Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, no, he most definitely is. I think we all seen it just took him just about a week to kind of get on the same page with Mahomes to kind of step into that Rasheed Rice role. And you're really just seeing that, the Chiefs can just, keep the tempo up on offense too. I mean, it's great just for the offense in general. I mean, Kelsey had 12 receptions, over 100 yards too. So I mean, you got a Chiefs humming offense again. So yeah, I think Hopkins is a week in, week out must start going forward.
I agree. I know the matchup was really good against Tampa, and Tampa. I mean, they gave an amazing effort considering how many people they were down. Obviously, with Godwin and Evans, so Baker actually looked really good against that defense. But Hopkins right now is a must start. Classic example of a talented aging guy on a bad team that transitions to another team at the deadline, and looks like he hasn't lost a step. So, I mean, 9 targets, 8 for 86 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, along with 2 touchdowns. So I think Hopkins is going to quickly become one of Mahomes' favorite targets. So it's hard not to start a guy like him with that upside in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense. I know they have been great this year. Mahomes, I mean, I don't know where he fell this week in the rankings, but he hasn't really been I don't think he's been like a QB1 since like week 12 of last year. So I don't know how he ranked this week, but hopefully with the addition of Hopkins, he'll start propping Mahomes numbers up a little bit.
Right, right. Hey, you're gonna like this one, Ethan. It's not in the chat. I think they're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we have a celebrity that actually just texted us, reached out to me, and it's actually our old host of the show, Captain Carmen.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Just reached out, so he's on the screen,
Oh, nice,
watching
nice.
and viewing us. Um, it's funny. So he's actually not asking a question because, of course, he's an expert as we know it.
Yeah.
So his advice is smash Vikings receivers this week. They're going up
Yeah.
against the Jaguars. So yeah, I couldn't agree anymore. Jaguars new defensive coordinator has not really worked out too well for them.
No, it
Uh,
has not.
I mean, what do you know? Trying to go press man coverage in the NFL just doesn't work for that many defenses in the league. It works for some, but not for many.
Yeah, you need some very very talented corners, and the Jags have been getting shredded all year. So yeah, I mean Addison, Jefferson, and even Naylor, just fire away.
Hey, we got another funny one. Oh, we got a Will Disley reference. I like it. From Jackie. Will Disley is healthy, aka commish on steroids. I love it. I have a lineup where I need a real bargain. Would you use Will Disley? So, do you like my Will Disley call from a few weeks ago?
I don't think that worked out too good for you that week. Anyways, did it?
It was about 8 points. So it was 8 to
Okay,
10. So a
okay.
normal tight end PPRs. That's kind of what you want.
Yeah, and honestly, Disley's been running routes on the majority of Herbert's dropbacks. So he's the tight end to own uh in for the Chargers. And Herbert, like I said, has been throwing the rock over 30 times a game since week 7. Actually, I think since week 6. So that offense is starting to throw the ball more. It's not like they're pass catchers in the for the receivers with, I mean, you have QJ, you have Lad McConkey, you have Josh Palmer. I mean, none of those guys are kind of taking, I mean, the offense by storm. So Will Disley is definitely going to have his weeks. So I mean, he's definitely a guy that I don't hate starting in a pinch. I'm actually starting him in one of my redraft leagues. It's a 2 tight end league, but I had to pick him up and start him in a pinch. So I don't. If that's the best you can do, I don't hate it.
let's kind of go on a little bit more on the tight ends just in general. We got another tight end question. We'll answer another one in the chat. But we'll also like just I guess while we're on tight ends, let's talk cheap bargain tight ends. Let's first answer the question. I got a one or two more bargain tight ends. We can keep talking after that too. But so okay, I'm going to turn this one to you, Ethan. It's one of your boys from New England. So the question is: start Hunter Henry or Fairmouth at tight end this week?
I mean, Hunter Henry is going against Chicago, which isn't a great matchup. But if I had to make a decision between those two players, I would go Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's been Drake May's favorite target. He's been getting like 7, 8, 9 targets a game. He's essentially the only receiver on the team that can actually catch the ball and make something happen. It's been a real struggle for the Patriots receivers to get anything going, and Hunter Henry's been the mainstay for Drake May. So Hunter Henry, I mean, I think he's an every week starter at the tight end position, honestly, with the target share he's been getting from Drake May. And he's especially in full point PPR, he's been racking up the points.
Yeah, I don't mind that call. I mean, the Bears are favored a minus 305. They are also playing at home too. So I think I mean, yeah, I think it's kind of also fair to say that in a lot of games the Patriots have an uphill battle this year, right? But yeah, game script wise, I think they're gonna have to keep mixing it up, and yeah, if you go with May's favorite target, it's pretty
Yeah,
safe.
Yeah, well, it's like to me, I'm following the targets, right? Fryermuth just isn't a huge part of their passing offense. I mean, the last 4 weeks he's had no more than 3 targets. I mean, what are you going to do fantasy wise with only 3 targets, right? Hunter Henry's been absolutely peppered. I mean, I think Hunter Henry is a pretty easy call. He's going to be. I mean, Drake May looks to him early and often, so I would almost guarantee Hunter Henry's going to outscore Fryermuth this week.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I do like Pittsburgh's. Um, I do like their matchup against the Commanders. I think it's going to be a little bit of back and forth. It'll be very competitive, but um, I think they might have comparable weeks. But yeah, I think it's safe to say go with a target hog in New England. All right, hey, we got the chat. Kind of staying live here. We can it's staying on the tight end subjects. We say after the bye, commit has been a bust. Should I drop him for Mike Gritty or Hunter Henry? Yeah, Mike Gritty, I like it. Yeah, DFS just put up 30 fantasy points. Funny, I had him in my lineup last week, Ethan. I would have competed with you a little more there. But yeah, so would you drop commit for Mike Gesicki or Hunter Henry? Is the question. He's
um,
got he's got McBride as an everyday starter.
Yeah, no, I would. I mean, in redraft, I'm definitely going Hunter Henry. Let's put it this way: Hunter Henry is definitely safer. Hunter Henry's going to get the targets. He's going to get 7+ targets a game. Gasecki, now that Eric All tore his ACL, unfortunately for our guy Eric All,
I
but
know. Yeah.
now Mike Gasecki is going to be get much more opportunity because Eric All was playing a decent amount of snaps. So now Gasecki is pretty much the only tight end of consequence. I think Drew Sample or Tremble still there. I know, sorry, I think it's Sample still there. But yeah, so Gasecki's going to be the tight end one there going forward, and then a Joe Burrow led offense. I definitely love the upside there, but I think Hunter Henry's the safest bet if I was going to start a tight end week to week. But
Yeah.
Gasecki against Baltimore has an awesome matchup, so I would be hard pressed to leave Gasecki out of my lineup.
I'll I guess I love talking me some tight ends in general, but I had another one too just to keep on the conversation. What do you think about Jatavian Sanders kind of coming around now with Carolina? I mean, they just lost Deontay. Thielen's been hurt. I mean, they really only got Leggett and the other rookie, right? So they got two rookie wide receivers
Yeah.
over there, and actually all three with Sanders. Is he a cheap play in your eyes in redraft?
I mean, he had 87 yards last week, and like you said, you have. I mean, Deontay's gone, so you have Coker the Holy Cross kid,
Goker,
who's
yes.
yeah, who's a rookie, and then you have obviously Leggett, who's just a touchdown machine. But the ball's got to go somewhere. The Carolina Panthers are going to be down in most games. Sanders, a rookie tight end. Usually tight ends take a little bit time to get their to get acclimated, to start making things happen. So to see him eclipse the 80-yard mark last week, he's definitely being utilized in the offense more. So definitely a guy to keep an eye on, especially if you need a tight end in the pinch. But tight ends have been pretty good lately. So luckily they bounced back from that ugly start.
Yeah, it's true. It's fun talking tight ends, but they definitely let you down. Couple call outs in the chat. Oh, we got a shout out to Kamish, given the confidence in best ball to draft Neighbors a little bit earlier. So yeah, definitely Neighbors is his stud. He's definitely living up to his potential here. We got another question here too. So here's a question. I'm assuming I'm thinking it's a redraft question. So
Yeah.
it says, "Do from Kyle, do I trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for Cup and Pacheco?"
In redraft, I mean, if I need some running back help, and the thing with Amon Ra too, I mean, Amon Ra's been pretty good, but that Lions team has just been so dominant. They don't even need to throw the ball in like the second half. So Carmen's point too, with the two running backs right there, Gibbs and Montgomery, I think you can start them both every single week because they get up on teams and just pound the rock. But I definitely love the upside in Cooper Kupp. What do you have, like 15 targets last week? I know.
Right.
I know. Puka decided to become a boxer and get kicked out of the game, but but I think I would make that trade because I mean Pacheco, he should be coming back relatively soon, right, Aaron?
He is, yeah. He's supposed to be making a return here soon. They have such a cake schedule coming up, so I'm not sure how soon of a rush they're gonna bring him back and how
Uh,
many carries they'll give him. So then if he does sit, split carries a little more with Kareem Hunt, then you're really kind of maybe putting up Cup against St. Brown. I'd maybe go St. Brown over Cup at that point.
No, I mean, if I had to choose, I'd go St. Brown. But Cup and St. Brown redraft are kind of right there. I mean,
Yeah.
they both have that same kind of upside, that same ceiling. So I think if you can get an extra piece like Pacheco for the playoff push,
Yeah.
I mean that I think that's a deal you could make. I'm not really sure how much more you'd be able to. I think the only reason why you're getting a guy like Pacheco is because he's hurt. Like right now, if Pacheco is out for the year, right, and it was
Hmm.
if that deal was Cup and Kareem Hunt for Amon Ra for Cup and Cream Hunt, you take the Hunt Cup side all day long.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do like the upside in trying to get a guy like Pacheco for the playoff push.
That's true. That's true. I like it. I like it. Yeah. I mean, I think it would work out for you. And yeah, who knows? There's a lot of just running game scripts over there in Detroit too. So, um, yeah, that's an interesting trade, and yeah, you could go ahead and make that one. A couple other questions feel about Singletary. I'm out on Singletary now. I have him. We were actually just Ethan. You were trying to trade. You were trying to take him from me, Tracy, in a
I
league
am cheap.
just earlier today. Yeah, you wanted him cheap. Like, no, that's my trade of the year. I got Tracy pretty cheap this year. Yeah, I think Tracy's the guy now in Giants land. Hey, we got Captain Carmen as a Giants fan. I think he would tell you the same thing. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love Tracy's upside.
Yeah, I know, and I know Tad saying Tyron Tracy didn't look great with Singletary back, but I mean, he did. He did play 72% of the snaps last week. He had 16 carries, averaged over 4 yards a carry. He didn't do much in the receiving game, which is why his fantasy points didn't look so great. I think he did. What do you have? I think he didn't even have one. Yeah, he had one catch, and he didn't score any touchdowns. So the stat, if you just look at his overall fantasy points, it didn't look good, but I mean, he was on the field 70+% of the time, and he got 16 carries. Tyron Tracy is going to have his boom weeks. I think he's going to absolutely smash this week. I believe he's playing Carolina, so I would
Yeah,
get Tyrone Tracy in your lineup easily this weekend. I think he has a big day.
Yeah, he's at least a week 10 smash play for sure playing against
Yes. Yep.
Carolina. So I definitely agree there. And I mean, even if you look 2 weeks back, I mean, he put up 22 fantasy points in a half point scoring format against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's one of the best defenses out there too. So you're gonna get that with running backs here and there. I mean, if they're not named Derrick Henry or CMC, but I think Tracy's shown enough. He's gonna have some nice weeks.
He has a good schedule after his bye too. So I think Tracy is going to help carry teams, propel them to the playoffs. So I would not panic on Tracy after last week's performance.
Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta watch out the first week of the bye when they play Baltimore. So, I'd probably not, start him week 15 if you got a better option, but, yeah, right now, hopefully he makes helps you get to the playoffs. Oh, hey, we missed a question. I love this one. Shepherd. Yeah, he's coming back from the dead over in Tampa Bay. I mean, you got a list of injured wide receivers over in Tampa Bay, and yeah, he's a very sneaky play. I mean, I forgot I had this slide. We got a couple name waiver moves, right? And we actually don't even have him on here, but I do like that. I like that call out. What do you think, Ethan? I definitely like Shepard if you're fishing for a PPR target.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm like, I was seeing Shepard catch the football. I'm like, oh, I'm like, damn, who is this guy? I'm like, oh, is that Sterling Shepard?
Yeah,
He looked like he turned back the clock a little bit. I mean,
for
yeah,
sure.
he made that insane catch on the sidelines where he basically did almost like a 360 to catch it, but he looked really good. I was actually surprised. I mean, I thought he was complete dust after all the injuries that he's had. He actually looked pretty explosive. I was impressed. I was honestly very impressed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers overall. I mean, what Baker was doing with the cast of characters they're throwing the ball with was very impressive against a good Kansas City defense in Arrowhead, which they should have just went for two and
Mhm.
gave the Kansas City Chiefs their first loss. But I know Aaron wouldn't have been happy about that.
No, I mean, honestly, for sure, I can't agree more with you. I mean, Baker's playing probably the best football I've ever seen him play. I mean, he's leading the league in passing touchdowns right now, right? So, it's definitely when you thought the Tampa Bay offense would struggle a little bit, that was very impressive to see. So I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, but when it comes to Tampa Bay pass catchers, I think if I was going to start one, it would be McMillan. Obviously, it's depending on if he comes back from that, I believe that hamstring injury. But McMillan, obviously the rookie receiver from Washington, he's a guy that I think can ascend to that number one option. Well, number two, I mean, Kate Otton's the man, so number two option in that pass catching unit.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we got another good question in the chat here. So I know we brought up the screen, a couple waiver moves, kind of get the conversation going. We put up a lot of handcuffs here in redraft formats too. So out of which one of these handcuffs is your favorite? Um, I'm actually gonna go ahead and say Tyler Algier, right? If you look at his playoff, let me bring it up real quick. But the Falcons playoff matchup for weeks 15, I'll read them to you. It's the Raiders, the Giants, and Washington, right? So, I mean, if something happens to Bijan, Tyler Algier can be a pretty big time stud, and they're going to be making a playoff push too, and he's a goal line back, so I like Tyler Algier a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, Tyler Algier is an awesome handcuff. I mean, you really can't go wrong rostering Algier, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Trey Benson. Those are the I think the big four. And honestly, if the starter in front of them went down, any one of those guys would be league winners. But if I had to pick one, it would be I would roster Ray Davis because he's already starting to kind of get. I know Algier already has his role, but Ray Davis I feel like has a ton of upside. I mean James Cook, he's been having a great year, but he is an undersized back, and I think Ray Davis um, can potentially at some point have some even standalone value. But I think if James Cook went down, Ray Davis is I mean a locked and loaded. RB1 potentially every week. So I definitely
Yeah,
like I mean, like I said, you can sit then Braylon Allen. I mean, he'd probably eat too, but I like
yeah,
the Buffalo Bills offense better. And Tyler Algier, I think Tyler Algier and Ray Davis, they kind of come with the the same upside. I just like Ray Davis. I think as maybe
Yeah.
a standalone asset more than Algier and redraft, I guess.
Yeah, sure. I think they're all, pretty stealthy. If any of the starters go down there, they're gonna just step up and shine. I mean, one key call. Here's the thing that I always looked at it. Actually, my old partner on that team, Mr. Captain Carmen, we always specifically looked at Week 15 because we're like, we just need to worry about our first win in the playoffs because we know after that, it's a lot of luck from there. So Week 15, the Jets play Jacksonville. So if something does happen to our boy Brees, I mean, you got a Week 15 Jacksonville matchup with Braylon Allen too. So I definitely like that one as well. But yeah, plenty of guys to kind of here to choose from.
Yeah, and I dropped Singletary to with Kevin's question. I dropped Singletary for any one of these guys because Singletary. I mean, even if Tracy does go down, I mean Tracy was serviceable. I mean, Singletary was serviceable, but I mean, if any one of these other starters go down, I mean, you have potential league winners. So if you have some dead weight on your roster, your redraft roster right now, and you can pick up one of these high end handcuffs, I definitely do that, especially going into the playoff push here. You may end up picking up a running back for free that helps you win a championship.
Right. Hey, I threw a name in here, a guy I was extremely low on. I actually even have a preseason bet on for his under, and it was Mike Williams. I was so low on him with the Jets. I took his
Oh,
season yard
you're crushing
under.
that.
Yeah, definitely crushing. But hey, what do you think about him getting traded for Pittsburgh? I threw this on there because it's kind of intriguing if you're looking for a dirty pickup in fantasy. I don't mind Mike Williams in Pittsburgh. He can definitely, just be that lucky flex play and get you a big touchdown.
You better be very desperate to start Mike Williams.
Ye
uh,
Yeah, I mean, it's not a guy to rely on, but, I honestly, I think if you're really looking bottom of the barrel guys, that you hope will come down with a touchdown. I mean, Mike Williams is one of the best red zone threats of what from a few seasons ago. So, we'll definitely he's a name to track. Is why I just wanna throw him on there for a fun conversation.
Yeah, I mean, he's instantly going to be the wide receiver two there. Van Jefferson's going to get kicked out of his role, I would assume. Mike Williams should, and with Mike Williams on the outside, it might allow Pickens to work in the slot a little more. But I know Mike Williams can get down the field. I know he's a little older, but Russell Wilson throws that moon ball. Maybe Mike Williams comes down with a few of them, but it just gives the Pittsburgh Steelers another weapon. I mean, right now, I mean, you have Calvin Austin. You have, like I said, Van Jefferson, and you have Pickens there. So Pat Fryermuth. So not an insane receiving core there. So Mike Williams should be able to insert himself rather easily. And hey, maybe you can turn back the clock and we can see some of those old Charger days come to life a little bit.
That's right. No, that's for sure. I mean, we got some other names on here. We talked Gesicki a little bit earlier. A lot of tight end talk already. You put Jalen Wright. Let's talk Jalen Wright. Why did you want to talk Jalen Wright?
I mean, Jalen Wright's a guy. He's a very distant, whatever, fifth running back on this list. I mean, I just think if anything happens to Mostert or A Chain, Jalen Wright is going to be inserted into that role, and it's a very valuable role. Right now, the running backs are kind of carrying Miami.
Yeah.
A Chain, obviously undersized back. Hopefully, he can stay healthy because he's been absolutely crushing. But like I said, I mean, that offense, hopefully the Miami Dolphins start clicking a little bit better. But typically a high octane offense, and it's been going through the running back position. So if there's any injuries, I mean, you have a ton of upside in Jalen Wright. But like I said, I'd much rather have the other in redraft. That is, I'd much rather have the other backs on this list.
Yeah, no. It's a good call. Hey, it's music to my ears. I got Jalen Wright in Dynasty too. But yeah, he's looked great this year too. So yeah, he's another one that could have some big weeks if either Mostert or A Chain. I mean, it would be more like I think if what a lot of managers would like if there was an injury, if Mostert went down, then you could have the tandem. Hopefully, a glimpse and take a little glimpse into the future of what the Jalen Wright A Chain combination could look like in 2025. All right. Any comments we missed here in the chat or anything? Oh,
I,
we got a Bucky call out. Bucky Irving. What
uh,
what have you been thinking about Bucky lately?
I mean, he's eating my guy Rashad White's workhorse role there, so it's hurting me in our old ginger ale dynasty league there.
That's right. That's right.
But I mean, Bucky, he looks really good out there. I mean, he's earned himself a role. He had that toe injury he's working his way back from. So Rashad White's still, I mean, still the primary running back, but I mean, Rashad White hasn't been getting a ton of carries. Bucky has been definitely serviceable this year, but it's been kind of that 1-2 punch. So he's a guy that I'm not looking to start week to week just because it's just so volatile.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I threw a fun one. I'll probably save it for our DFS show and the pod for any viewers too. But I threw out Nick Westbrook Akine. I mean, man, I don't know about you, but there's been a few weeks in the last 2 to 3 seasons. We're like, who had it? You're watching Red Zone, you see a replay, like, wait, what just happened? It's like it seems like every year for the last 3 years, Westbrook Akine's had this breakout game where he just kind of goes nuclear, right? But I got some fun facts that I can share when we do the DFS show. But he's a sneaky play as well. I think after the DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs, if you're looking just for some bench wide receivers, it's another dirty one, but I don't mind going picking up Westbrook Akine.
I mean, it is dirty, but I mean, outside this next game against the Chargers, I mean, he has a very, very, very good schedule, and the Tennessee Titans aren't very good, so they're going to be throwing the football. I know Will Levis is supposed to take over for Mason Rudolph once he's healthy and ready to return. So I don't know if that's going to mess with Westbrook here, but he has scored a touchdown in the last 4 games. So let's see if he can continue that into 5 straight games with a touchdown. So he's giving you a floor just with his touchdown upside. But yeah, I mean he's kind of the guy outside Calvin Ridley. Tyler Boyd's kind of disappeared. He did absolutely nothing last week, so it's essentially Ridley and Westbrook Akine because I mean Okonkwo's doing absolutely nothing. And it's been basically the Tony Pollard show. So definitely not a bad dart if you're desperate.
Yeah. Hey, one last question too. So mid-range must start quarterback for week 10. I got and then I'll turn it over to you. I'm gonna say Aaron Rodgers. I love his matchup this week against Arizona. So believe it or not, Aaron Rodgers in fantasy he's pretty much mid range. And I actually like Russell Wilson this week as well. So I like even though that Washington just traded for Lattimore, I still like Russell Wilson this week against Washington. But if you to choose between the two, I love Aaron Rodgers matchup, and you'll hear more on our Dynasty show on that to that point as well.
Yeah, I'd probably have to say if I was picking one for week 10, it'd probably be Justin Herbert. I mean, he's ranked like QB 18 this week, but I think he has much more upside than that. He's like I said, he's been averaging over 30 pass attempts a game. He's been they've been clicking, so I wouldn't mind riding with the hot hand in Justin Herbert this week.
He has. I mean, his yardage has definitely been going up. It's definitely not what we saw at the start of the season, where it's kind of, what we were worried about. Would they be able to pass it all with the Chargers? But yeah, he's definitely coming alive, and that's where kind of QJ comes into place. But Week 10 does worry me a little bit. The Tennessee's been a very sneaky defense the last couple weeks, and they've actually turned out being they're climbing the ranks in PFF as well. So I like Aaron Rodgers slightly more than Herbert this week, but I'm definitely digging what you're throwing down with Herbert. He's definitely been turning it around lately.
Oh, definitely. Like I said earlier, I mean, since week 7, he's second in pass yards, sixth in attempts. So they're starting to throw the football.
All right, we'll go one last question. Yeah. What do you
Absolutely.
got here? So after Love comes back from bye, would you hold a second quarterback due to his injury history? And if yes, would you keep Rogers and Danny Dimes or Nick? So I kind of already give my opinion on that. I love Rogers. Um, I actually love Rogers. I think they're coming around and with the Jets now. I mean, you kind of seen a little bit more of a connection with Devontae Adams as well. I mean, he's got a great Week 10 matchup, so I'm gonna go with Rogers over here. I mean, if you're a streaming quarter, if it's redraft, I definitely do get it. You don't always want to hold a second quarterback. Um, I don't know. You want to give your take over just streaming quarterbacks or holding a couple on your bench in redraft?
Yeah, I don't know how big your bench is, but I know in a lot of my leagues, I can't really afford sometimes to roster a backup quarterback. I think Love. I know he's been kind of in and out of the lineup, but I'd be okay rolling the dice with Love and not adding a backup quarterback. But if I wanted to roster one and I had to pick between those guys, I'd actually go Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix. I mean, since week 5 has had 3 QB1 finishes, and then he had 2 QB2 finishes. He gives you a floor with that rushing upside. He's been very good this year fantasy wise. He's been a definitely a surprise of the 2024 fantasy football season. So I like the upside in Bo Nix. Aaron Rodgers, uh, we saw him come to life a little bit last week, but they're just so slow paced. I mean, they're like one of the slowest paced offenses in the league. I mean, they want to run the ball out with Brees Hall. So I just would rather go with a guy that has a rushing floor. Because Aaron Rodgers absolutely gives you nothing on the ground. So my answer would be Bo Nix.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, honestly, I think they're about the same tier. I think Bo's uh, rushing floor is about equivalent to Rodgers' passing game floor too. So I think they're in the about the same realm, but I can't. I do agree with you. I think Bo Nix has been fun this year too. I mean, he's not always going to get that receiving touchdown as he did last week for you, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind Bo Nix too. I just know I really liked Rodgers matchups coming up. So streaming wise, I love him against Arizona. That game's gonna the spread's only -1. So, Vegas thinking it's going to be pretty close. I do too. So that just means Rogers got to keep throwing the ball.
Yeah, hey, they need to win some games because they're in the cellar with the
Yes.
Patriots and the Dolphins in the AFC East.
That's another reason. I mean, they gotta keep the foot on the pedal. They can't be comfortable with a 10 score lead or anything like that. They gotta keep scoring, right? They almost blew last week's win away too, right? Or my boy Malachi Corley almost that would have bit them in the butt pretty hard.
Yeah, he's got to hold on to that football. Get over the goal line here.
That's right. That's right, but okay, everybody. This has been pretty fun. We were back for our second live stream. We'll probably keep them coming here off and on. We'll try to get some start sits as we get closer to some Sundays here and there too, to mix that in. But definitely, if you're not following us already, follow us on our pod on YouTube. We're gonna talk. We're actually gonna record our DFS show tonight too, so we got some fun DFS plays. I know, Ethan, you're keeping it interesting with me, trying to keep that lead in our DFS competition.
Yeah, hey, I need a little more competition. I've been dominating lately.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So definitely stay tuned for that. Hit up our Discords. If you don't have the links, we'll give them to you. Just hit us up on our socials and join that Discord where yeah, the conversation definitely gets to flowing. So until next time, folks. Peace.
Thanks, everyone.